Catch up on the AR, how you did that? Track out, lift up when you take off, how you did that? You put switches up on your blickies, how you did that? Your LV back turned to a legit, how you did that? I seen that turn to a Louis, how you.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Symone and welcome back to my channel. If y'all can see by the title, today's story time is our fact or fiction stories. But before we get into this video, y'all already know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, give your girl a thumbs up, comment down below. Also, don't forget to follow me on all my social medias. They was in my intro before and they will be listed down in my description box. Instagram, Vivalayoshii, TikTok, and Twitter at LifeWithSymone. Just want to give a disclaimer. I'm filming this very early than what I usually film it. So, like, you can hear people TVs, people watching the game. It's a mad dog outside barking. So, I just want to give y'all that disclaimer. So, we're going to read two stories. One story will be real. One story is going to be not real. So, this is how we're going to do it. So, in the beginning of the next in the beginning of the next Vlogtober video, that's when I will announce if it was real or not. So tomorrow's video I'm gonna announce it, but also because I'm like, I know some people probably, I don't know what's gonna be tomorrow's video. Some people really don't want to watch that, so I'm gonna announce it in the next fact or fiction story as well. So I'm gonna announce it in both. But what we're gonna say is today it is this wrong because I filmed early. So hold on, where we at? Right here, hold on. It is 27 days left until Halloween. Hopefully I'm right with my countdown because the last video I wasn't. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this story. So I have two stories, and I do want to just give a warning to people that these stories, it is spooky season, so these are going to be some crazy stories I've been finding online. So if you don't want to hear this stuff, it could be like triggering to you, like murder, ghosts, stuff like that, then click off because it's a trigger warning. So let's get into it. So it says, this is a story about a woman who went on a Tinder date that went wrong, all the way wrong. So let's get into the story. I got my knee up, y'all. I haven't did that in a long time. So it says, dressed in a white jacket and a cream shirt, Sydney Luth took a selfie and shared her photo on Snapchat with the caption, "Ready for my date." Sydney, 24, was smiling for the camera and looked excited. She had even added a heart-eyed emoji. It was good to see Sydney happy. Her loved ones knew she struggled with depression, but she was always trying to stay positive. A tattoo on her arm read, "Everything will be wonderful someday," and her new romance was making her feel hopeful. It was November 15, 2017, and Sydney lived in Lincoln, Nebraska, where she worked as a cashier at a hardware store. Her parents, George and Susie, lived 3 hours away, but they would get together as often as they could and message each other constantly. Sydney had told her friends that she had met a woman called Audrey on Tinder. She even shared Audrey's picture with them. She had been on one date with Audrey 2 days earlier, where they had simply driven around getting to know each other. Now it was time for the second date and she was headed out. But the next morning, Sydney didn't turn up for work. She wasn't returning messages from her parents, so they got in their car and drove straight to her apartment. They found Sydney's cat, Mimsy, hungry and abandoned. She knew something bad had happened. Sydney would have never neglected her cat. Her car was still there and her mobile was turned off. They filed a missing persons report with the police. The last time her phone was on, it was in Wilbur, about 35 miles away. Fears were that Sydney had been abducted and her parents had made an emotional public plea for her safe return. Investigators focused on Sydney's date, Audrey, and tracked down her phone number after linking with her on Tinder. The woman who answered admitted going on a date with Sydney, but said she left her at a friend's house afterwards. She couldn't recall where that was. Come on now. Police noted that Audrey didn't want to share basic details about herself. Eventually, officers discovered that Audrey was a woman called Baisley Boswell. She was then 23 at the time. She lived with her older boyfriend, Audrey Trail, 51, in Wilbur. Oh, so she was on Tinder saying her name was Audrey the whole time her boyfriend name was Audrey. Let's get into this. It's getting crazy. They were both named as persons of interest. So the lady name is Bailey. Her name is not Audrey, so we're going to just call her Bailey. Bailey had been using a different mobile to send messages to Sydney's phone, and also was Audrey. So her man and her was sending messages to her phone from a different phone. Led the police to a location of 60 miles west of Wilbur. There on December 4th, Sydney's body was found. Her dismembered remains were stuffed in rubbish bags in ditches in a field near Omaha. Sydney's body had been cut up to 14 pieces. Some of her organs and body parts were never found. The cause of death was suffocation, and she had put up a fight in her final moments. Her earlobe was torn, and she had bruises on her wrists. The back of her head and her inner thighs, she clearly been restrained before she was deprived of air. Investigators were certain that Bailey and Audrey was involved. They turned out to be a very disturbing couple. Bailey had met Audrey when she answered her online ad for messagings. She had a younger daughter who she had lost custody of. Audrey and Bailey had a lot in common, including dark fantasies. They moved into a basement flat together in Wilbur in June of 2017 and started defrauding antique dealers. The pair enjoyed group sex with other women who they met through Tinder. Audrey told them stories about gaining power from killing people. Police determined that Bailey had lured Sydney into a trap and she had been murdered. There was even a surveillance footage of Audrey and Bailey out before Sydney's date, where they bought tools and bleach. The pair were arrested in June of 2018 and charged with Sydney's murder. Right from the start, Audrey was a liar. He told the newspaper that Sydney had agreed to be a part of a sexual fantasy with him and the two other women, while Bailey was passed out on drugs in the other room. It had gotten rough and something had become tight around Sydney's neck. Audrey also told the lawyers that he had a sex party with Bailey and Sydney. They all had sex, but while Sydney was handcuffed, he had choked her with an electrical cord and had killed her. But even in the courtroom in the trial of 2020, Audrey would change his version of the events again. The prosecutor said that the twisted couple had already planned on killing someone before finding Sydney on Tinder. Bailey would connect with the women after she and Audrey picked a target together by looking on social media. Hours before Sydney's death, Audrey and Bailey were buying the tools and supplies used to dismember her. They had even chosen Sydney as she lives 150 miles away from her family, hoping her disappearance wouldn't be noticed for a while. They were wrong. Then during proceedings, Audrey grew angry at negative testimonies about his girlfriend, guilt, and screamed, "Bailey is innocent, I curse you all." Before using a blade to cut his throat, Audrey was taken to the hospital and ended up missing most of his trial. He returned to testify in his defense with scars on his neck. The defense said Sydney had agreed to be filmed during sex in return for money. But then Audrey took the stand. He shocked his own legal team by admitting that was also a lie. The killer said he had spun the story to confuse the investigators. It was only me, Bailey, and Sydney there the night Sydney died. There were no two other girls there. There was only $15,000 paid for sexual fantasy, Audrey said. So they told her they was going to pay her $15,000. Whew, okay, let's finish. He claimed Sydney's killing wasn't planned, but she had been lured to the apartment by Bailey, and Sydney had freaked out. They hoped she would join their sex ring and criminal activities. It's not done. When she resisted, Audrey killed and dismembered her with assault to protect their lifestyle. And the court were given a horrific insight into that lifestyle. 3 women testified about being lured into Audrey and Bailey's sex cult via Twitter between June of 2017 and November that Sydney died. Audrey said he was a vampire who could fly and read minds. Him and Bailey both said that they could gain more powers by killing people, even more if they tortured them first. The women would have sex with Audrey and Bailey in exchange for an allowance. They also helped in the antique business scams. Audrey made them call him daddy, and he would call Bailey the queen witch. The fuck? There were strict rules about staying in touch with Audrey, and they spoke about being punished if they broke rules. They would be slapped or even choked with a belt. When one woman left the cult, Audrey had threatened to kill her family if she told anyone. The jury took just 3 hours to deliberate. The couple were both found guilty of first-degree murder, criminal conspiracy to commit murder, and improper disposal of human remains. Whew, we not done. We almost done, y'all. In June of this year, at sentences for Audrey in front of 3-judge panel, he gave a statement. He admitted he killed Sydney, but insisted it wasn't premeditated. He had killed her because he was worried that Sydney would go to the police if he let her go. I won't say I'm sorry as that would be an insult to you after what I put you through. Audrey said to Sydney's family, "And I won't ask for forgiveness as I don't believe there is such a thing. I have done some terrible things in my life, but this is the only thing I have ever done that I feel real regret about." The judges said that Audrey had displayed a cold, calculated level of planning, pointing out that he had even bragged about the killing afterwards and joked that he had drunk Sydney's blood. They said that dismembering her body was needless and done to satisfy his intellectual and sexual curiosity. Audrey was given the death penalty. Oof. At Bailey's sentencing last month, she also faced the death penalty. She begged for her life to be spared for her daughter's sake. Girl, you don't even got custody. The judges said Sydney had found herself in the killer's flat, outnumbered and unable to defend herself. Bailey's action and word demonstrate that she had no regard for the life of Sydney Luke beyond her own pleasure, one judge said. But one judge didn't agree on the death penalty. So Bailey was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Her legal team said they would appeal. Appeal? Y'all, that was the end of that story. Oh, we gotta go. Let's get into our next story because, y'all, into this next story. So on a Saturday evening, everything seemed to be going fine when Sarah thought to herself, it seems to be boring, so I wanted to go out and go do something fun. Sarah then decides that she wanted to go on an app because she was ready to find somebody to mingle around with. Wasn't looking for nothing too serious, but also wanted to just have a little fun. She told herself that she wasn't going to be on here anymore because while she kept coming across men that just wanted one thing. But Sarah only wanted one thing as well. So she told herself that this time she'll just make it clear that she was looking for a relationship as well. Things started to move really fast when she put on an app that she was looking for somebody to have fun with. A guy responded and his name was Kevin. Kevin told Sarah that he really wanted to see her right then and there and if it was okay for them to link. Sarah said it was okay. She told her friends she was on the phone with her best friend earlier that day and she told her that she was on the phone with her best friend earlier that day and told her what she was up to. She wanted to find something serious in somebody but also wanted to hook up and have sex that night. She made it real clear to Kevin what she was looking for and he told her that he was interested in the same thing but he wanted to get to know her first. As the night went on, while Sarah was waiting for Kevin to tell her that she was ready to link with him, she kept getting a weird vibe about the situation but still wanted to go on the date. When he picked her up, which was a first red flag because her best friend always told her never to give somebody her address. He picked her up, everything seemed to be cool. He had it all planned out and told her that they was going to go to Ruth Chris, but things changed. He told her that he'd rather go to his house instead because he had just got a whole lot of groceries and he'd rather cook for her. He said that he was going to chef school and that he wanted to just show her a good time. Everything that Sarah was doing and saying to this man that night, she was making sure she texted to her best friend because she wanted somebody to know everything that was going on. She shared her location and she let her know that she would be going to his house instead of going to the restaurant. Everything seemed to be cool. She told her friend that everything was nice. He had a nice home and it was very clean for him to be a single man and not live with a woman. Her friend remembered that she told her, like, you better run, he might be married. As the night went on, Sarah was telling her friend that instead of cooking, he decided to get DoorDash. So that was already a red flag number 2 in her friend's eyes, but Sarah didn't think nothing of it. Time go by and they started to drink. Sarah's best friend FaceTimed to check up on her because she noticed that Sarah wasn't texting back like she usually was. Anytime Sarah would go on a date, she would be texting her friend 24/7. So Sarah's friend FaceTimed her. When she answered, she noticed that Sarah was very drunk. Sarah was more drunk than usual. Kevin got on the phone and told her that Sarah was in good hands and that they decided to have fun and try something new. He told her that they took ecstasy pills, which was a first because that wasn't something that Sarah was into. All she did was drink. All she did was drink and she barely did that. It was red wine every now and then. So her best friend was a bit concerned and said that if it was okay if she could come pick Sarah up. He told her that he'll call her back when it's time because he was too drunk and he didn't want to take her home, but Sarah had already planned to spend the night. But if she felt like she wanted to pick her friend up, that she could do so. So as the night go on, her best friend said that she was worried all night because she hadn't heard back from Sarah. And when she did talk to her on FaceTime, Sarah was barely talking and she was just drunk out of her mind. She had her location, so she thought about going there, but she said she didn't want to interrupt her date. Time went by and Sarah's friend didn't hear from her. She said she called a few times and that she didn't answer. Kevin didn't answer either. So she decided to drive over to the house. When she got to the house, she said that she knocked on the door and it was a lot of music playing, just real loud. Nobody answered, so she continued to knock and knock and knock. She then screamed out, "I'm going to call the police if somebody don't answer the door." She then screamed out, "I'm going to call the police if somebody don't answer the door." Finally, when somebody answered the door, it was dark and all she heard was crying. She was so scared that she stepped back. Sarah came out with blood all over her and said, "I didn't mean to do it. We have to go." I don't know what happened. At this time, Sarah's best friend asked, "Where's Kevin and what's going on?" Sarah said that Kevin is not with us anymore and that they had to get out of the house. Sarah's best friend said that she didn't ask no questions. She just grabbed Sarah and said, "Let's leave." They hopped into her car and she asked her where did she want her to take her. Sarah was crying and trying to tell her what happened, but her best friend didn't want to hear it. She decided that she would talk to her later, but she really didn't want to know what happened at that time. In interviews with police, she said that it was crazy because she thought that something would happen to her friend when the whole time her friend was the monster. She took Sarah home, and later that night she said she couldn't sleep, so she ended up going to the police department. Sarah's best friend told the police everything that happened, from the text messages, from the FaceTime call of them drinking, from her picking Sarah up and taking her home. She also led them back to Kevin's house. When the police went back to Kevin's house to do a wellness check, they found Kevin stabbed 12 times. He was naked. They already had Sarah's home address and everything because her best friend had went to the police and told them everything. Later that night, the police went and arrested Sarah. She said that Kevin had gave her something and told her that this was going to turn her into a demon, that he wanted her to be just like him. She said that whatever he gave her made her see red and made her wanted to kill him. She told him that she wanted to harm him and that she should leave before something happened, but Kevin said that she should let out her anger. He said if she wanted to be with him, then she should reveal her true colors. He had to see if she was meant and ready to be with him. She had to see if he was ready to be with him. Sarah then told the police that a lot of other things happened. She said that they had sex a few times, they took more drugs, drank more alcohol, and as the night went on, they did a lot of crazy things. Sarah said that she didn't want to get into details because she was afraid. She said that she blacked out and someone told her that she should kill him so that she could get away. The police asked her if he tried to harm her in any way, and she said no. She said that he just gave her the drugs and he told her to reveal herself so that they could be together. Sarah said that she told Kevin that the spirits told her to harm him. He said that he was invincible and that he couldn't die. Sarah said he handed her the knife, she blacked out, and she don't know what happened from there. She said that she was standing over him for about an hour when she came back and realized that he was dead. Nothing didn't make sense to her. She said she seen her friend calling her and she didn't want to tell her what happened because she felt that when her friend came that she would harm her as well, so she didn't answer the phone. A couple of weeks later, Sarah's best friend testified against her, saying that Sarah was obsessed with this man, Kevin, and that they did not meet that same day. Sarah had been stalking him for quite some time and that she had already made fake pages to meet up with him. When things didn't work out, she decided to be herself and meet up with him. Sarah's best friend told the court that she believed this was premeditated. Sarah denied ever meeting this man. She said that she never made fake pages and that was her first time ever talking or seeing Kevin in life. Sarah was found guilty and was sentenced to 25 years in a mental hospital. Still to this day, Sarah denied ever meeting Kevin. Last time she was interviewed was in 2018, where she kept her same story. Her best friend has done plenty of interviews and has told different stories each time, saying sometimes that she thought Sarah was a murderer and other times saying that she did not think that Sarah would ever do something like this. Whoa! Okay. Y'all. Alright. So y'all, because I'm not gonna tell y'all this one, what do y'all think? Which story do y'all think was real and which story do y'all think was fake? And also, yeah, comment down in the comment section below. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know the answer in tomorrow's video, but I'll also let y'all know the answer in the next video that I'm gonna do, fact or fiction story times. So yeah, next time I'm gonna be real prepared though, because right now y'all don't understand how long it took me to film this video just because I had to go through and try to find these stories. But yeah, that's it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social medias and stay tuned for Vlogmas day number whatever, because this is day number, this is 3. Oh, this is Vlogmas day number 4, and stay tuned for day number 5, y'all. Also, I did want to say that week of story times, I'm going to do a week of story times, and that would be from October 9th to October 15th. So stay tuned for that as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we out.